In this video, I'm going to do an unboxing of the Sony STR-DH820 7.2 channel AV receiver. So let's get to it. Now you might be wondering what 7.2 means. That's 7 speakers and 2 subwoofers. In my situation, I'm actually going to only use 5 speakers and 1 subwoofer, so I'm using a 5.1 setup on this receiver. But it's nice to have expandability options if I want to add another 2 speakers and another subwoofer. I really can't imagine myself adding another subwoofer at this time, but it's nice to have that option. Now, as you can see on the front of the box here, it has 4 HDMI inputs, and it's 1080p scaling and conversion. I'm pretty much only going to be using this with an optical in from my television set. That's the setup I'm using right now, but I might try the HDMI setup at a later date. At this time, I'm just going to try and hook all my components straight into my television set and see how that works out for me. Now, there are a lot of options out there as far as receivers are concerned. I've looked into the slimline options, and although they'll save you some space, a lot of times they're very proprietary. They incorporate a Blu-ray player into them, and I just don't need that functionality. So I just needed a regular receiver. So I picked this one up from Best Buy, and I got a good deal on it. I got it for about $245 out the door with tax and everything included. Now, this device, you can actually hook your iPod or iPhone into it. I won't be using that option. I usually just use my iPod Classic in my car, but again, it's nice to have options. So, got my trusty cutter open, and let's open this thing up. Now, right out of the gate here, you see the remote, and it's a fairly large remote, actually, a fairly long remote. And at this time, like I said, I'm just going to be feeding in an optical in from my television set here. So the only thing I'll be using this for is volume up and down at this moment. However, I could change my setup at a later date. But here's the remote. It's pretty long. It's about, 8 inches long. And it's got a lot of options on there. Actually, let's open it up real quick and take a look at it. And here we go. Got some plastic up top here. And you have a lot of buttons up here. You have an amp button, you have an RM setup button, an AV button, your power button. You have a shift button, a TV button, and a zone button. You have your numeric pad here. You have a USB button, a clear button, and an enter and memory button. You have a display, sound optimizer, sound help. You have your color buttons there, your guide, your directional, GUI mode, return, exit, tools. You have a menu. You have your play controls here. You have an actual iPhone, as my cat is playing in the other room. You have an iPhone button here. You have your up and down master control volume as well as your channel control, and down here you have your input, your wide, your auto volume, and sleep mode. It's got a textured back to it, so it's actually kind of ribbed here, and it's probably so it won't slip out of your hands. Again, fairly large remote, probably one of the largest remotes I've actually seen. And back here, it's probably 2 AA's. Yeah, it takes 2 AA batteries. So let's put that to the side. And let's see what else we got here. Probably just the receiver and some documentation. Speaking of which, you have your documentation over here on the side, along with an antenna housing here. So we'll put that to the side. And over here, we have probably the iPhone dock, iPod iPhone dock, and maybe some more cabling here. Alright, you get your 2 AA batteries, Sony branded, for the remote control. You get a USB cord here. This is one of the antennas here. This is the mic. Now, this is actually for auto calibration. You put this mic in the center of your room, and it will auto-calibrate the receiver so that all your speakers are at the right volume. Over here you have a cord here, just a patch cord, and here is the iPhone iPod dock. And that's probably what one of those cords plugs straight into. Let's see what we got here. Alright, it looks like this patch cord plugs right into the back here. And a USB cord as well. So you can dock your iPhone or your iPod right in there and play right into this receiver. So that's a nice option to have. And let's see what we got in here. We have what looks to be just the receiver itself. So let's see if I can get this out of here. Alright, it's got some foam packaging around it. And let's gently get that off. Apparently this is the back here, because that's where the cord is. There we go. And this is what the receiver looks like. Let's just take a quick tour on the back so you can see the connections. You have 4 HDMI ins and then 1 HDMI out. You have your component video in here. You have 2 sets here. You have in 1, in 2. You have your monitor out, so that's your component out. You have audio in here from a CD deck if you want. Here's audio in from a tape deck and also audio out. You have your TV audio in, and then here you have video. You have one is out and one is in. You have your full composite cables here. Then you have a SAT or CATV video in here. You have your Blu-ray or DVD in here, and obviously if you're using Blu-ray or even DVD these days, you probably want to use the HDMI. Then you have zone 2 here, which is an out. It's a video out. And you have a monitor out, and you have a subwoofer here. This is the 2 subwoofers that are out. You have a coaxial here for Blu-ray or DVD. And then you have your assignable optical here, and then an optical in here. Now I'm going to be using this optical in from the television set, and that's pretty much all I'm going to use this device for at this time. You have a coaxial in here for your FM, and then you have your AM antenna here, which is, I think, the white antenna there. And then here are all your connections. So you can use a banana plug in here, or you can actually unscrew these and tighten down your wire in there as well, which is the way I'm going to be using it, just tightening down the wire in there. But it's nice to have both options. Now the front of the receiver, you have the Sony branding, and the bezel is plastic. The actual housing is metal. You have a tuning knob here. You have your power button over here. You have a sound optimizer button, an auto volume button. You have your speaker button, your tone mode, your tuning mode, and your memory enter here. You have your headphone jack over here. You have a 2-channel A direct button here, an AFD button here, movie, HD, DCS button, music, dimmer, and display. And then you have an input selector knob and an input mode below that. And then you have your master volume all the way over on the right-hand side, which I can't reach right now because this is probably a good 15, 20 pounds. You have your auto calibration mic input there, and that's what I showed you. You actually put that in the center of the room, and it will auto-calibrate your speakers. You have a USB input for your iPhone or iPod, and then you have some composite cabling inputs on the far right there. So that's the Sony STR-DH820 receiver. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Again, if you like what you see, please subscribe. And as always, if you want to help out my channel, give me a thumbs up or favorite this video. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.